To our Wednesday night live Q&A. My name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I'm excited to be here. Um, if this is your first time, welcome. And please, when you log on, give me your name and where you're from, like either state or country. Um, and that you hear in the background is my little Foster. Hi, Julie. Also, I'm creating a master list so that I don't have to ask all of my regulars where they're from every week. So, oh, Willie, you're okay. So, Julie, I know you're from New York. If you could also, so you three, I know where you're from. Um, oh, Julie, thank you. If you want to also put in your dog's name um, and age, let's see, do I need, yeah, like your dog's name and age. Just because I know I ask that like every week because I forget. Because some things, when I give advice, it's age specific. Then I will have my master list, and then I won't have to ask people every time where they're from. Like last week, um, I couldn't remember where Travis was from, but I could have sworn he was from the U.S. and he won the drawing, and he's actually from Canada. And so only people inside the United States can win. So that was a bummer. I felt really bad. Um, okay, so Julie, Coco is 1.5 years old. Okay. And I'm going to write down, because I remember names, but then I forget like who owns. Because Julie, let's see, yeah, Julie Weinstein or Kaplan, you have Dakota and Ellie, right? Please tell me I'm right. Okay, Moose is 1 and Tug is 14. And Emily, I know you have Raven, and I can't remember how. Yay, I was right. I can't remember how old Raven is, and then I can't remember the name of your new dog. So Dakota is, yeah, and I do remember that Dakota is female because I remember my Dakota is a male. Oh, except I spelled it wrong. I spelled it how I spelled mine. So 9 to 10 months. Sorry, I'm just going to take a second and enter you all and then write these down. Like I said, I'm creating this master list, and then for you guys that come every week, I won't have to ask you every single time. Okay. Let me make sure I got everybody. Julie, Emily, Nicole, the other Julie. Okay. Cool. Does anybody have any questions right off the bat? We have been, it's a little dark in here just because we've got a rainstorm going, which, hi Melissa, welcome. We have a new one, yay. Melissa, if you can let me know where you're from, I can enter you in the drawing. And you have Cooper. This is a 4-month-old male. And then Lisa, if you can let me know where you're from as well, I can enter you. And then once, okay, Melissa is from Colorado. Awesome. Oh no. Hospitalized for another gastro problem. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to answer it. And if it's a it's a medical question, I may refer you to your vet. Um, but you can ask. Oh, so Lisa's from Canada. I love it when people come from out of the United States. I wish that I could enter you guys in the drawing, but for some reason they can only ship to within the United States. So, but you still get bonus points with me for attending. So, for whatever that's worth. Um, okay. So, Cindy, thank you for asking. So, for those of you that are new, 2 weeks ago I actually thought I was going to have to put my dog down. Um, she's 11. She's 11 years old, and she's got IMHA and really bad arth back, and she couldn't walk for 2 days. So she's actually doing great. She has been kind of, playing. She doesn't really run, but she can walk. She can go up the stairs. She can jump on the bed. So she's back to her old self, which is awesome. So we are continuing with her medication and currently trying to wean her off prednisone, and doing acupuncture. And so she's doing really, really well. Hi, Beth. So let me write Beth down. And Beth, if you can tell me where you're from, I will enter you into the drawing as well. Okay. Okay, let me scroll back up so I don't miss anybody's question. Oh, so yeah, Nicole. So I've been training my mom's pup and she's doing well, except she has started peeing on my bed, couch, and the dog beds. So the first thing that you want to do, and it could be a marking thing. Sometimes when dogs, like people always say, "Oh, my dog's mad at me and peed on my bed," and dogs don't really like they don't have the emotion of spite or like getting revenge or things like that. So sometimes when dogs do that, it's because it's familiar to them or because it smells because of the smell. They could be marking. They could be, it smells the most like us. So the first thing that we always want to do is manage. And actually, Nicole, what I would do in your case is if you can, and I don't exactly know what your setup is. So are you with your mom all the time? Or is this happening is this happening when you're not there and it's just your mom and the puppy? Because what I would do is tether the dog and or crate the dog. So do your regular potty. Oh, hang on. Willy Wonka is chewing his crate, so I need to give him a toy. Give me 1 second. Hey, Willy, let's not chew on that, okay? Here, how about this? Let's chew on that. My foster dog is finding his teeth, and he likes to chew on everything other than what he's supposed to. So what I would do is do your regular potty, like in the morning, 20 to 30 minutes after feeding, after naps, after playtime. And then if he doesn't potty, or she, then I would crate her or tether her so that if, hey, Lily, okay, he's not listening to me. I'm gonna let him out. Sorry about this. Okay, let's not chew on your crate. Come on. He's turning into his naughty stage. He's incontinent, so he wears diapers, but that's why I had him crated right now. So just because I can't watch him. So I would either crate or tether. So if you go out and the dog potties, then you could give the dog free roam. Um, if the dog doesn't potty, then I would either put her on her crate or tether her. And then that's going to make it so that she can't practice the behavior of peeing on the bed or the couch. Because if she's tethered to you or your mom, then she's not going to be able to jump up on the bed or the couch. Um, and there was one other thing I was going to say that I just forgot. It could be stress as well. So you want to make sure that there's no like anxiety or nothing like that that's kind of going on. Um, and then of course with puppies, female puppies especially, we want to make sure that there's no like UTI going on. So if it's like really frequent, so sometimes dogs just don't um, develop a substrate preference yet. So for her, she probably doesn't know yet that, hey, Lily, she probably doesn't know yet that, hey, the bed, the dog bed, the couch, that's part of my den, so to speak. And so I shouldn't potty there. So I think the best thing to do would be to tether her and then catch her going potty in the house and then immediately take her outside and reward her. And then after she potties, if she like pees and poops, then you could let her off. But I would still supervise her. So when I have puppies stay at my house, I actually do not give them free range. Like they're always in my sight, just because I can't totally trust them not to chew stuff. So, oh, he's so naughty. See, even trainers have naughty dogs. Okay, one more second. I'm going to put him outside for just a sec so that he can't, so that I can focus on you guys and not him. Hey, come here, little dude. Why are you chewing? Okay, this is the little culprit. This is my foster dog. This is Willy Wonka Tonka. Okay, I'm chewing on everything, huh? And he wears diapers. He's incontinent and he's got a spinal injury. So I'm going to put him outside really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. He's been chewing on the back steps. His crate now, that was a new one. Um, he chews anything he can find. And he has lots of toys. So it's kind of the same thing with potty training. It's like constant management and um, constant like interrupting the bad behavior and replacing it with good behavior. The thing with potty training is after the fact, there's really nothing you can do. So that's why you want to always supervise and always catch the dog doing that and then redirecting to like, oh, hey, let's go out and go potty or outside and then immediately take the dog outside. So that's what I would do. And then when you clean up, make sure, which I'm sure you're doing, but with bedding, couch, dog beds, make sure that you are really cleaning it well so that there's no scent there. So one of my dogs would sometimes in the middle of the night would decide that she didn't want to go out down the stairs and outside to the dog door. And so I honestly don't know which one it was, um, would pee or poop in one of two spots. And no matter how much I cleaned, um, sometimes they would still do it. Like not every night. And I was using good enzymatic cleaner, everything like that. I finally got my carpets cleaned where they actually like really cleaned it well, and I haven't had an accident since. So I think cleaning it is really a good making sure it's really thoroughly cleaned is good as well. Okay, so Lisa, I'm wondering about how to get her to leave things alone. I taught her leave it, but she's so stubborn she eats everything. Oh, yeah, welcome to my world. Um, I have a 10-month-old puppy that, as you can just see, eats everything. As I was starting, she was chewing on my bag handle. She was chewing on her crate. She just bent her crate, actually, or he. He chews on the back steps. He chews on the TV stand. Um, so it's kind of one of those things where you just have to keep being consistent. Because I interrupt and I give him his chew toy, and he'll chew on that for a second, but then he'll go into chewing again. Um, and I do still need to work with him a little bit more. And yeah, he's still a puppy. His adult teeth haven't. Well, some of his adult teeth have come in a little bit late, but he's got genetically really messed up teeth too. So the poor little guy's a hot mess. Anyway, the way that I teach leave it is always like, you leave that, but if you leave it, I'll give you something better. So when I do leave it with him, which I wasn't really prepared because I was doing this, is I always have higher value treats. So if I ask him to like leave his crate or, leave the back steps, things like that, then I always replace it with something better. So like if you leave that, I'm going to give you a salmon treat or beef liver or something like that, so that they know that if they leave that, they're going to get something better. Now, one thing I have started to do is spray things with bitter apple, and I've kind of had to. So like the back steps that are wood, I've sprayed those. I need to spray his crate now. This is the first time I've seen him chew on his crate. So I have sprayed things with bitter apple just to kind of deter him from chewing on things. And then making sure that he has plenty of toys to chew on instead. And then like now, since I can't watch him, I just put him outside for a little bit, and hopefully he's not chewing the back steps, but there's a ton of toys outside, so he can find something to chew on. So I would do that. So and Lisa, if you want to email me, I can send you my leave it handout. I am Tracy@pupford.com, and you can just say send me leave it handout. So let's see. Let me go back up. For some reason, there we go. And remember that puppies, and I'm not sure how old your dog is, but dogs explore the world with their mouth, so they are going to want to take everything. And for some reason, dogs love wood. So bark, wood chips, things like that. And so, finding something else that is even better that they can chew on sometimes is a challenge, but you can eventually find something. Like my go-to are turbo tendons, bully sticks, yak chews, because that seems to be like what my dogs really like. And you want to make sure again that the reward is better than what you're asking the dog to leave. And it is just a matter of consistency and repetition. So when I first started working with Jade, who's a service dog in training, and when we would go to grocery stores, she would want to sniff everything, like everything. And I was constantly saying, leave it, leave it, leave it. And at first it was really frustrating because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just telling her too much to leave everything. Because to her, going in a grocery store was like Disneyland. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so many smells, there's so many things to see, and everything on the bottom row smells good. And it's taken several months, but now she can finally walk through a grocery store without like constantly sniffing stuff. She will still, like, if somebody's dropped something or if there's some food on the floor or something, she will go to sniff it. But now if I say leave it, she'll leave it. And then I reward her with, I usually have the salmon or a rabbit cut for treats. Um, and so just make sure that you're really being consistent. Um, because sometimes even if a dog does grab something, like there have been times when I just thought, "Ugh, I give up. I'm tired of saying leave it all the time. I'm just going to let her sniff." But then she gets rewarded for doing that. And in her mind, it's like, well, sometimes I get away with it. And sometimes I actually get to pick something up. And so then it's kind of like you have that slot machine effect. So I have to be really consistent with her and not letting her sniff, not pick things up. So it is a matter of just a lot of repetition on your part and making sure that you have like really good treats. And as dogs get older, they do kind of grow out of it. And I also reward for an auto check-in. So if we're walking, hey, Jade. Oh, Willy Wonka found his way into the dog door. Good boy. Okay, come over here. He just learned the dog door today. Okay, buddy, you can stay in as long as you don't see stuff. So, as you can tell, my house is always a zoo. That's crazy here. Um, so yes, just consistency, lots of repetition. Okay. So Beth, kind of the same thing. How do we get our dogs to stop eating or destroying toys? If you figure that out, let me know. There are certain toys that I absolutely do not give my dogs, such as um, stuffed toys, like stuffed squeaky toys, because they will destroy them in like 1 to 2 seconds, and then they're done. So I usually try to stick to Nylabones. I'm going to show you Willie's Nylabone so you can kind of see what it looks like. And I'm going to put him back in his crate. You go back in there. I'm going to use your Nylabones with that. So this is a Nylabone that is supposed to mimic wood. So it's not real wood, but it kind of looks and feels, and it has the same texture as wood, so that they're not like eating the wood chips. So here you go. Here's your wood chip. And here's your. Oh my goodness, he is being a stinker today. So I use harder bones. Those are pit bull proof because I have pit bulls, and so they can destroy toys pretty well. So I like the Kong. So for my guys, either red or black, and I'll usually stuff it with baby food or pumpkin or peanut butter and then freeze it. I like Nylabones just because they can't really destroy them. Everything else that I've used as far as toys, even like strong rope toys, my dogs destroy. So it's hard to get them to not destroy toys because that's just kind of what dogs do. I mean, dogs, it's in their kind of innate genetics to want to like chase, stalk, chase, grab, and shred or tear. So they get a lot of enrichment out of doing that. So you can get stronger toys. Another thing that you can do is get, like, we used to do this at the rescue that I worked for enrichment. So we would save cardboard boxes, and they don't have to be big. I have some right here, but I don't want to get up again. You can save your cardboard boxes, and you can throw in, like we would smear peanut butter on the sides. You can save cereal boxes, Amazon boxes, your pup food boxes. And then we throw in some kibble or treats and then fold it so the tops aren't open, and then give it to them. I will tell you, it does make a mess. You can do it outside. The staff used to get really mad at me because they didn't like cleaning up all the cardboard, but I'd have to remind them like it's not about you, it's about enrichment for the dog. And they can go to town, like they can shred it. They'll do whatever to get inside, to get at what's inside, but it fulfills that need to want to tear things apart and shred. So when we would provide those to the dogs every couple of days, we found that dogs are less likely to like chew up their bed or chew things that they're not supposed to chew on. So you could try that enrichment as far as giving your dog other things to shred up and chew. And it's a lot cheaper. I mean, you're going to recycle the cardboard box anyway, so you might as well let your dog shred it. And then you're not replacing chew toys, if that makes sense. So you might try that. Dogs love to do that, and that was one of our favorite things to do at the rescue, except for the kennel techs because I had to clean it up. So, but provide your dog with that outlet so that they can destroy. Okay, Beth from Chicago. Okay, Julie. We are planning on driving to Pennsylvania. We're trying to decide whether to bring the dogs with us or leave them home. Dakota loves car ride and Ellie gets car sick. I was thinking about putting one dog in the crate and one out of the crate. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. My one dog that doesn't love riding in the car, I do have to crate her. Otherwise, like she doesn't get car sick, but she just shakes the whole time. Like she just has so much anxiety in the car. So I would definitely crate Ellie and maybe just leave Dakota out and let Dakota just ride in the car. And I don't know how far New York is from Pennsylvania, but I would do plenty of breaks. Let Ellie out to go potty, things like that. Maybe not feed her before or feed her small meals or a small meal before you leave so that she's like less likely to get car sick. And then every time you stop, like you could give her a little bit of kibble, like maybe a fourth of a cup or something. So she's not starving, but she's not going to eat a lot that she's going to throw up a lot as well, if that makes sense. Okay, Nicole, the bed she was playing with moved. Oh, the bed she was playing with moved, so I thought she was excited, but I don't know why she is going on the couch and the dog beds. Yeah, and I mean, it could be excited pee. So when dogs get really excited, they can pee. And depending on the personality and the temperament of the dog, sometimes if dogs are timid or frightened, they can also pee as well. So if Moose is a lot bigger and this other dog is a little bit intimidated, then that could cause peeing as well. But is she like sneaking off and then like jumping on your mom's bed and peeing? And like on the couch, is it during play? Like is she playing like with Moose and then jumping up on the couch and peeing? Because I mean, I would still do the same thing. So, hi Karen, welcome. I'm just writing your name down. I would still do the same thing where when you catch her doing it on whatever, the couch, the bed, I would interrupt, say, hey, outside, and then immediately take her outside and then reward her for going potty outside. I've had little Willy Wonka here who's giving me the evil eye right now because I just put him back in his crate for 2 months, and he just today learned the dog door. But he doesn't let himself out to go potty, but if I put him out, he will let himself in. So he just figured that out today. So yeah, it is important to catch them. With him, it's hard because he is incontinent and he can't really feel it, so he has to wear a diaper. But it would be awesome if he could let himself out to go to the bathroom. Okay, Julie, we will be gone for the whole day because there's like construction going on in my house. Um, yeah, so I would maybe take your dogs because if there's if there's construction, it may stress out your dogs. So if you're going to leave your dogs home and they're not used to having strangers or construction noises and things like that in your house, it could cause um, stress for your dogs. So I would maybe take them. Another thing that you could do if Ellie really doesn't like to travel is take Dakota but board Ellie and see if there's like a daycare boarding facility that Ellie could go to so that she doesn't have to travel. That would be an option too. Sometimes when I travel, depending on where I'm going and for how long, I will leave Daphne home and just, I mean, she's so good. She can go in and out. She's potty trained. She doesn't chew stuff. Um, and I know she hates car rides, so I just have somebody come and feed her, and then give her fresh water, and she's pretty much self sufficient. My others, not so much. So they usually go with me. Okay, Nicole, my mom lives 4.5 hours away. Polly has spent 4 weeks with me. Um, so Nicole, is this happening like on your bed and your like your couch, or did Polly like go home and is now doing it at your mom's? So that would make a difference as well. Oh, good boy, Willie. Yeah, you chew on your well, yeah, good boy. You chew on that. He's actually chewing on the wood like Nyla bone thing. Okay, Julie replying to the other Julie, my dog used to get car sick. A vet assistant quietly told me that Benadryl was a good alternative, and I tried it. It works great for my dog. Yeah, Benadryl can make them tired, so that they don't know as much of what's going on around them. Because a lot of dogs that get car sick, there's just like so much motion going by, and it's going by fast. I did not know that about the Benadryl, so I would make sure, and I don't know about dosing, so I would still ask your vet if that's something that you could do for Ellie and how much. Just say, hey, we're traveling. Somebody told me to try Benadryl. How much would I give? And see what they say. Okay. Melissa is asking, Cooper is a golden doodle and is 35 pounds at 4 months old. He will go on short car rides like a park a few blocks away, but any further than that, he throws up every time. What do you suggest to help him so we can take him with us more often? Um, so it kind of depends on whether it's car sick or anxiety, because dogs can throw up with both. Um, if it's car sickness, I would. I don't really like medicating puppies, but I would ask your vet and see if there's something that they can recommend to give your dog, like for short, for longer car rides. If it's more anxiety, there still is medication they can give, but what I do is I kind of get them used to it really slowly. So, like, we get in the car, I'll give a treat, we get out. We'll get in the car, I'll give a treat, turn the car on, turn it off, and then one time, like, I'll back out of the driveway, back in, treat. And I treat at the end. So once you start, like, backing out, um, drive to a stop sign, back, and then treat. So the treat's coming at the end so that there's no, like, throwing up or getting car sick. And then slowly add up distance. So first you're just backing out, backing in. So I would start with, if she's okay going to the park a few blocks away, like start there and then maybe go like one street more and then go back home let her out, give a treat. Or he, sorry. So then you're slowly building up on that duration that your dog can go and be calm. You could also try a lick mat because constant licking helps soothe dogs. So when dogs have anxiety, when you see them like constantly licking their paws and licking things, that is soothing for them. So providing like a lick mat that's got frozen peanut butter or something on it. I would think that just licking peanut butter, or you could use pumpkin, isn't going to be enough for them to ingest to throw up. But having something like that to distract on a car ride might work as well. And then I would just build up, make it really fun. So, um, and are you crating? Because I would also maybe crate him during car rides because that can sometimes help with anxiety, so that they don't see the stuff like whizzing past them. Because sometimes that can be a lot for a dog. That's why Daphne doesn't like it, and she used to just lay down like on the floor so she didn't have to look out. Now I just crate her. Um, Also, my puppy is getting so big and keeps jumping on us and accidentally scratching us. Um, he will run from the stairs to jump on me. He doesn't mean it. He's just so happy. Okay, so with that, oh, Willie, you just got your diaper off. Ugh, teenagers. Sorry, I'm so distracted. He's like right there, so I can see everything that he's doing that's naughty. And plus, the diapers that I got him are too small, so he can get them off easy. Okay, so for jumping, what I do is if you're like pushing your dog off and saying like get down, get off, I use the word off because down means lay down. So if you're saying like get off, pushing your dog down, you're still giving attention, so you are inadvertently rewarding the jumping behavior. So I turn my back and ignore the dog. Hey, Willie, don't chew in your crate. So I turn my back, ignore the dog, and then I will turn around and ask for a sit. If he's jumping on your back and like scratching, I would even walk away. So just like turn your back, walk away, so that jumping results in you leaving. And so it's called negative punishment. So we're taking away our attention because we want the dog to not jump anymore. Willie, stop. Um, I'm going to grab something for him to chew on really quick. He obviously does not like his wood thing. For the one that asked, this is also a nylabone. This one tastes like fish. It has a fish flavor. You can see this one's old, and I do wash them sometimes, but I've had this for like 2 years, and it's still, my dogs still chew on it. So I'm going to give this to him. Here. Let me see on one of these. Okay, sorry about that. I've never had so many distractions in one life. Um, my dogs are well behaved, but Willy Wonka is still a puppy, and he's on one today with his destructiveness. So I would turn my back, and then you always want to teach your dog what you want them to do instead, which in this case would be sitting. So we talk about replacing with an incompatible behavior, which means if the dog is sitting, then they're not jumping. And you're right, he doesn't mean it. He's just being a dog and he's just trying to get attention. So I have to do that with Jade a lot. Jade is my chronic jumper, and it's because everybody reinforces it. They're like, oh, she's so cute, I don't mind. And I'm like, but I mind, and I don't want her to jump. So please turn your back and don't let her jump, and only give her attention when she's sitting. And that's what I've had to tell people. if I can tell that people are going to be like, oh, I love dogs, they love me, it's okay, then I will ask her to sit and I'll say, Jade, sit. And then when she sits, then I allow people to say hi to her. Um, and I would maybe do some impulse control stuff. If he's running from the stairs to jump on you, I would start to turn your back and move away before he can jump, and then turn around and say, okay, hey, sit, and then give him attention. And I would start to teach a wait, like I teach wait, and then I'll put your leash on you. Um, Wait, and then I'll pet you, and wait for food, wait to go through the door. So it kind of teaches the dog impulse control, and that will help as well. So I've had some dogs that are like so persistent with jumping that I've had to like walk away and go in another room and close the door, and then come out, ask for a sit, and give the dog attention. So the dog learns, okay, if I want attention, I have to sit because if I jump, they're going to move away. So I would try that. And I'm sorry it's so noisy. He's now chewing on his fish. His back legs don't work. So when he moves around in his crate, it's hard for him to move around. So he kind of makes a lot of noise. Um, okay, Danielle. We adopted a puppy at 2 months and she did great with car rides. Now at 4 months, the last two car rides she's vomited. Wow, we have a lot of dogs with like car sickness right now. Um, I have a road trip on Friday and she's coming with me. Hoping the new booster seat I bought will help her feel secure. Yeah, and I didn't even think about that. Like putting your dog in like the harness seatbelt type thing or a booster seat can sometimes help them to feel more secure and may help. Um, there is also some like anti-nausea medicine that they can give, that your vet can give. I would ask and just see, how your vet feels about giving medication to puppies. But it can definitely help with car sickness. So your homework is to report back at our next live that you're here and let us know how that works. And let us know how the booster seat works and if it helped with the car sickness, because I would be interested as well. Okay. So yeah, Nicole, you did everything that I do as far as like cleaning it really, really good. And um, and then I did finally have to just get my carpets cleaned. I also covered them with those, the dog rugs that they're not waterproof, but it doesn't soak through, just to save my carpet. But you might, for a while, put, like I have a couch cover for my couch, just because Willie does get on the couch and he's incontinent. And so that way it doesn't soak through to the couch, and the dog beds I can just wash. But again, I would just go back to management, which is make sure that you can always supervise the puppy. And if you can't, then the dog is either tethered to you. So like what I'm saying is if you're working and you can't really watch, I would tether him. And you can tether to a mat, give him something to do, like a chew toy. Luckily, Willie's going to town on his purple squeaky toy, and his fish. But give him something to do. But then if he stands up and starts to move around, then you can say like you need to go potty, and then go potty outside. But then you can catch it. Okay. Lisa, she eats stuff off the ground and ends up sick at the vet. I can't tell if she's sniffing to pee or to eat. Yeah, that can be hard. My dog, she pees constantly on walks too. She actually marks as a female. She's a marker. So I would kind of, if you can, like, pay attention see if there's stuff on the ground, because, on one hand, it's good for dogs to sniff and explore, um, because it's good enrichment for them. Another thing that you could do is play the go hunt game. So as you're going for your walk, um, you can toss a treat out or toss a handful of treats into the grass and say, go hunt. And that way your dog can sniff and pick up the treats, and the treats are going to be better than anything else that she picks up. And if you see her sniffing, you want to kind of try, and this is easier for me to say because when I walk dogs, I am paying attention because I'm usually training them. So as I'm walking, I will pay attention to what they're sniffing, and if I see a rock or a leaf or something they shouldn't have, then we practice leave it. And I always have them on leash so that I can reinforce that leave it. So you could try that. And then when they do leave it, and I do this with leash manners and pulling as well. If they're walking nice, then I reward them with a fun game of go hunt. But that's still going to allow your dog to sniff and pick things up that are treats instead of bad stuff that she's not supposed to have. And so hopefully she learns, like, I'm going to sniff for the good stuff instead of the bad stuff. And we do kind of have to pay attention to what's on the ground so that we can, interrupt with leave it if it's a rock or, something that they're not supposed to have. Because, yeah, definitely you don't want to keep ending up sick at the vet. And it can be really hard with puppies because they literally want to pick up everything. Like everything wants to go in their mouth because they're puppies. That's just kind of what they do. Okay, so Lisa, your dog is 2, so it's not like she's not really a puppy anymore. I would try to give her more enrichment at home. So that would be like a snuffle mat. Pupford sells them. They're the mats that have the long pieces of fleece and you can run treats through it. And then I do it on walks as well. So I'll throw the treats and say, go hunt. Because doing nose work and enrichment and getting them to use their brain can really help with that. The other thing I would do is when you're on a walk, every time your dog looks at you and checks in, click and treat. Or you can do yes, treat. If you don't use a clicker, use a verbal marker. So that your dog learns that looking up and checking in with you is going to result in a reward. And then she's going to be more apt to want to check in with you rather than nose on the ground and sniff. Then if there's a good spot that okay, this looks like a clean spot, there's no rocks, there's nothing that the dog can get into, then release and say go sniff, or throw your treats and say go hunt, so that she can get that sniffing and that exploring without worrying about picking stuff up. So I would do both of those things. Add in some enrichment that's going to help your dog use her nose, and then reward her for looking up and checking in with you rather than sniffing. But then allow her to sniff in areas where it looks safe to do so without her picking things up. Okay. Nicole, I really like the toys that have a cover that they tear off. Wilma likes to destroy toys also. And then she gets a new toy after the cover comes off. Well, that's a good idea too. Hi, Anthony. I actually, I don't give my dogs the stuffed squeaky toys. Just because, up here, they're like $4 or $5. I do get the ones from Petco that are 2 for $5 because that's what I give my puppy class on graduation. But for my own dogs, as soon as the squeak's gone, they don't want it anymore, and then I have to pick up all the stuffing. So I just give them something a lot more sturdy that they can't chew up. But yeah, that's a good idea too. As soon as they get the cover off. So are you talking about like it has a cover and they can get the cover off, but then there's no stuffing to come out? Because I would be all for trying that. I just hate picking up the stuffing all the time. Um, okay, so Anthony, welcome. We've missed you the past couple of weeks. Um, we have very few men that join our little live group, but we do have a couple. And since it's mostly usually women, I'm always happy when we can get some male perspective on things. Okay, Nicole, Moose is bigger, but she is constantly initiating the play with Moose. Um, so, yeah, it doesn't sound like it's an intimidation thing. It could be an excitement piece. It could be excitement. And yeah, and like I said, I would just try to watch more, and then maybe give her a little like more frequent breaks in the crate, and then as the first thing after she comes out of the crate, it's outside to go potty. And then once she goes potty, then you can give her like some roam of the house to play. And then one thing that I did read is that dogs that have frequent accidents sometimes aren't getting let out enough. And it sounds like, and I know you know what you're doing, so you probably are. But let's say if she's like having an accident on the couch or bed every hour, then I would take her out every 45 minutes. And if she's going every 45 minutes, I would take her out like every half hour and give her more chances to potty outside rather than in. Okay, so Polly is going to wind up over 70 pounds. That's how much Maddie weighs. I'm a little frustrated because I was talking to my mom about keeping up with her training. My mom doesn't sound like she's going to keep up with the training. She said to talk with Tatum, but he's only 7 and Polly is almost bigger than him. How do you handle owners who don't want to put in the time needed to keep the dog well behaved? Oh, I deal with that every day. So yesterday I was talking with an owner who wanted me to come every day. And I said, well, I can, but you really have to learn what to do so you can keep up on it, because I'm not going to be at your house like 24/7. Also, I've never heard of a Weimerdoodle before. That's very interesting. So then they said, well, how do you feel about boot camps? And do you do board and train? And will you just take my dog for a month? And I'm like, well, yeah, I can. It will be expensive, but it still comes down to they still have to keep it up, because you can take your mom's dog for a month, but if she doesn't keep it up, then the dog's going to like get into bad habits, and especially when she becomes a teenager, and it's going to then try to push the boundaries and see what she can get away with, and things like that. Sometimes you have to kind of let nature take its course, so to speak. And, the first time that Polly, say, pees in the house or chews up a remote or do something like that, then you can say, well, Mom, that's what happens when you don't do the training or when you don't keep it up. Especially if Polly gets bored because she's not getting worked with. And I would not expect a 7-year-old to be able to train. When I do classes, I don't let kids under the age of 12 come to class, because they usually just run around and don't do the training anyway, so they have to be 12. And even some 12-year-olds, it's hard for them to get it. So yeah, I wouldn't even, you can have the 7-year-old like help and help with training, but I wouldn't put that responsibility on a 7-year-old. So at times I will say, well, yeah, that's kind of what happens, so you need to do this and this and this. But then you can use the same principles, with your mom that you're using with the puppy. So when your mom, like, give your mom like small tasks, like, okay, mom, I want you to just ask Polly to sit for food. And then when she does that, really praise her and to say, oh, mom, that was great, good job, because positive reinforcement works on people as well. And so, if she calls you and says, okay, Polly's like barking all the time, and then just say, well, when she barks, what are you doing about it? And if she says, well, I'm yelling at her, um, say, well, what if I yelled at you when you talked? Because, dogs just bark. That's their way of communicating. So if you call me on the phone to talk, what if I yelled at you? Then you wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. So if you can use like human examples, sometimes that can help. Um, and then really praising your mom and giving her some positive reinforcement when she does work with the dog. I would do that as well. And, maybe where you're doing a lot of the groundwork, I have found, I'm going to tell a little secret here. My own family does not listen to me. My mom doesn't have a dog, but when it comes to other things, they don't listen to me. So sometimes I have to get an outside source, and they'll listen to other people. So if your mom is like my mom, maybe say, okay, mom, I want you to, now that I've taught the dog all the basics, I want you to get a trainer that can come in once a week and work with you on keeping up on the behaviors that we've learned and that Polly's doing really well. And sometimes if another person tells them what to do, that can motivate them. Or if they feel like they have to answer to a trainer every week, that can help motivate them. So you may try that as well. There's a really good book called, it's by Terry Ryan, and coaching people on how to train their dog or something like that. It's really good, and it's all about teaching the human part of it. And I know there's a section on there, like on how to like motivate people. But yeah, it is hard, and sometimes, I'm usually really blunt, and sometimes I just say, okay, if you don't want to put in the time, why do you have a dog? And sometimes I get this shocked look, like, I can't believe you would ask me that, but it's like, seriously, if you don't want to put in the time, like, okay, I have a client right now who travels all the time, and right now she's gone for like 3 weeks. And so she just got a puppy. And I'm like, okay, if you travel all the time and you don't want to put in the time and you don't want to train your dog, why do you have a dog? Because when she is here, she likes to go running and she likes to take the dogs with her. So she is active and the dogs get to go out and run, but it's very sporadic. It's not like consistent. So, I get people like to have dogs for company and things like that, but you could also maybe ask your mom to pay you, like say, okay, well, if you don't keep up on these behaviors, and if I have to take the dog and train it again, I'm going to charge you X amount of money for every hour I spend working with your dog. But if you can keep up on the behaviors, then it's not going to cost you anything. So I do find that people have a little bit more buy-in if they're paying, if there's like a monetary amount attached. So those are just some ideas. I know it's really hard to work with non-compliant owners, and I have fired clients before that are not compliant. I know you can't fire your mom, but I have like sometimes just said, well, if you don't want to put in the time, then there's really nothing that I can do to help you. And then I just kind of put the ball in their court. So, you could do that too. Okay, and Nicole, good job. When you're working, she's in the crate. So that's great. That's what I would do. Oh, Karen, you just ordered it. Awesome. So the snuffle mat and the lick mat, I use both of those with my dogs, and I recommend them to all my puppy clients. because it's just a great form of enrichment and can help get the those tendencies out. So as an example, right now I have 3 toys in the crate with Willy Wonka Tonka, and he's actually not chewing up his crate right now, and he's decided that he likes the purple rubber squeaky toy. So he's being a good boy right now, which is awesome. Um, okay, and I was going to ask about Bark Box. So, I was going to order Bark Box, but I haven't yet. I'm going to ask you, is it worth it? Like, do you like it, and is it worth it? Because some of the things, when I see like the ads, and I know that they have a Super Chewer one, or that might be a different company, Super Chewer. Um, when I see some of the stuff, I'm like, oh, that will never last. That will never last. My dogs will chew that up. And since I have 3 dogs, I need enough toys that they all get to play with stuff. So do you think it's worth it? And do the things that they send, is it high quality enough for your dogs? Because I've thought about that as well. Julie, Coco likes old socks that I tie in knots and we play tug of war and keep away. Okay, that's awesome. Um, the one thing that I would caution about socks is that dogs can't tell the difference between the socks that you say the socks you say are okay to chew on and the ones that aren't. So like when I go to a client's house and they're like, "Oh, I just gave my dog an old slipper," and I say, "Well, then how?" But then you're teaching your dog it's okay to chew on slippers. And yeah, if you tie knots in them and it looks like a toy, then your dog can probably tell the difference between like this is the tug sock because it has a knot in it versus like a good sock. So just make sure that you're distinguishing that and so that your dog doesn't learn like, oh, it's okay for me to chew socks because they can actually swallow and ingest socks. And when I worked for the vet, we did have to like do surgery and open up dogs to get socks out because sometimes they do not pass. But yeah, that's a great thing to do too. And you can also use like old T-shirts and put knots in them and play tug and things like that. And I think they're less likely to ingest like a shirt unless it's a really small one. Okay, Nicole. Okay, so when she first came, she would have accidents on the way from the crate to the back door, but she stopped that. Yeah, so it sounds like in that case, she just couldn't hold it. And um, so, yeah, it's, I mean, potty training can be either some of the easiest, some dogs just get it so quick, and some just don't, and some have setbacks. So you just have to kind of hang in there and, keep being consistent with it. Um, let's see. Nicole, one other thing that you might try, and sometimes I'm hesitant about suggesting this, but you could do like a potty patch in your house. I don't really like potty pads because dogs chew them up, and it does teach them to go in the house. But if she keeps continuing to do this, I like the potty patch because it looks and feels the most like grass. And there's stuff that you can spray on it that attracts the dog to go and potty in that area. And they're easy to clean up. So in the house, you could actually teach her to go on the potty patch instead of the bed, or like see if she'll do it. I used that with a puppy once that I was doing board and train, and it was for an elderly couple, and they lived in an assisted living, so they were like up on the 10th floor. So there was no way these guys were going to get their dog outside on time. And so they actually had a potty patch shipped to my house, and I didn't even really have to teach the puppy how to use it. It was like an automatic thing. The dog was there. I don't know what the spray is, but you spray something on it, and the dog is just like attracted to that area and will go to the bathroom on that. It was amazing. So I do like that more than potty pads. And if you continue to have that problem, I would maybe try that. So at least you're not having to, um, you know, constantly wash bedding. Um, okay, so Julie, I got Dakota to like water bottles with treats in them, but I had to stop because I can't have her do it in the same room as Ellie. So now she will go after water bottles that are unopened. So now I find bottles with holes in the lids and water everywhere. And now I just give empty water bottle because she likes the crunch. Um, yes, that's exactly what you can do. Just give them the empty bottle because yeah, some of them do like the crunch. Um, and you could still do it with Dakota. Just do it in a separate just do it in a separate room. Like you can baby gate. When I give my dog certain items that I'm worried that they'll resource guard, I put one behind a baby gate, one will be outside, one inside, like one in a crate, so that there's no chance of resource guarding or anything like that. So once in a while you could do that, but you could also just do the empty bottle as well. Um, oh, Travis, I did get your email. In fact, I asked at the beginning when everybody put down their um, when they log on or join to I'm making a master list where everybody's from so I don't have to keep asking. But yes, I did not realize you were from Canada and it is USA only, so I'm sorry about that. Um, let's see, Mickey's behaviors are getting better as I think I can contribute it to more exercise. So that's good. I am, however, trying to manage. Oh, he's playing. Um, Mickey and my sister's puppy to get along. She's 4 months and tries to smell Mickey and nip her, but every time Mickey growls. Um, and Mickey's 3 years old. So I'm also writing everybody's dog's name and age down so I don't have to ask. So puppies can be kind of obnoxious as far as how they play. I and so let me just talk about this generally. So I know and I trust my dog, Jade. Well, actually, I trust all three of my dogs. So when I bring a puppy home, can you guys hear that? That's Willy Wonka. He's playing in his crate, but he has some of the strangest sounds that come out of his little mouth. Um, okay, so um, as an example, on Tuesday yesterday I took Jade over to a client's house that has a puppy that's kind of nervous about meeting new dogs. And so this dog would kind of like hackles go up. Willie, what are you doing? Are you playing? What are you doing? You're making some weird sounds. So funny. Um, sounds like a gargoyle or something. So I knew that my dog would be okay with the kind of like hackles up, like nipping a little bit, but then if it got too rough, um, Jade would correct. And I do let dogs like growl. Hang on, I'm gonna put him outside for just a second, and then I will finish that. Oh, here. Let's go outside for a minute. Let's see if you need to go potty. Oh my goodness. Next Wednesday, I'm going to have to find a babysitter for him. I've never had so many interruptions in one live. I'm really sorry about that. You can see that as trainers, we go through the same thing that you guys go through. It's like constant management. So what I was saying is, if Mickey growls and your sister's puppy backs away, then that's appropriate because that's how she learns. So she learns if I nip, if I bite too hard, then Mickey's going to growl. And even like a snap, like if Mickey like snaps at her, um, as long as the puppy backs away, that's fine. I don't allow dogs to fight. So at one time on yesterday, Jade did correct the puppy, and the puppy's like, "Oh, I don't like that," and then kind of like went back at Jade, and I had to separate them and give them a timeout, and then they were fine. So that's how puppies learn, by inhibition, and to an extent, like they are going to play rough, they're going to try to nip and bite and things like that. Um, if it's like just puppy play, like regular puppy play, I would go ahead and let Mickey like growl or be like, "Hey, that's too rough. I don't like that." And if the puppy doesn't back off, then you can say, "Oh, time out," and then just do like a 1 minute timeout so that she has some time to like decompress, and then let her try to play again. You always want to give Mickey, like, if Mickey is like, "I'm over this puppy, I do not want to play," then make sure that she has a safe place to go. So, like, if I have a puppy here and I can tell that Maddie's had it, I let Maddie go in her crate. And if she goes in her crate, then I know she wants to be left alone, and I will actually close the door so the puppy can't get to her. Um, and so I mean, I would do that. The fact that she's growling just because the puppy's smelling her um, isn't great because it's normal for dogs to want to smell each other. What you can do is try to go on like a parallel walk first. So go for a walk so that they can like air sniff each other, gather information, do something fun together, and then allow like some brief butt sniffs. Like, okay, do you want to check it out? Like 1, 2, oh, good dog. So I usually let them sniff for like 2 seconds, and then I take them away and reward them. Um, for Mickey, you could also do some fun things in the presence of the puppy, and I would do this on leash and like in the same yard but separate, and that can be like a go hunt game. So throw some treats out in the lawn and say go hunt. So that in Mickey's mind, it's like, oh, I like it when the puppy's around because I get to play go hunt. Um, so it's kind of like um, I may not necessarily like some of my like distant or extended family members, but it's like, oh, I kind of like when they come to visit because then we get to go to the amusement park or we get to go like do something fun, whatever. So in Mickey's mind, we have to make it like, okay, I really like it when the puppy's around because we get to play go hunt. Or you can give them a really good item, like separated by a baby gate. So like Mickey gets a yak chew and the puppy gets one. So they get it in the presence of the other, but they're not like right together. So the puppy can't run up and you don't have to worry about resource guarding or anything like that. And then just try to do some really fun things when they're together, but not in a way that the puppy can really annoy Mickey. And let's see, the other thing is, yeah, at 3 years old, I would think she should still be healthy. And then when you say she plays a lot, does that mean like can she play with other dogs normally? And is it just the puppy she gets irritated with? Because then I wouldn't worry as much. It might just be, some dogs are very, very tolerant of puppies and some aren't. Some dogs are just like, same as people. Like some people absolutely cannot handle little kids and they're like over it quick. Some dogs are like that too. They're just not patient with puppies. So, um, and she may just need more time to get used to the puppy, and you know that can happen too. So, I hope that answered your question. Let me know if it didn't, and I'll see if I can think of some other things. Um, oh, good, Nicole. So, yes, I have a lot more patience with dogs than people as well, which is why I got into dog training. But I that's actually why I worked in rescue for 3 years, because then I could just work with the dogs. Um, so you take your dogs to a trainer in your mom's town. So good job. Trying to get her to sign up for a class there would be perfect, because then she has to answer to somebody. Um, yeah, and well, yeah, and you did the same thing I would do. Like, um, well, you're the one that got a puppy, so you got to train it, and yeah, because she got it for Tatum. Um, it's hard because Tatum's really too young to train a dog. So if she doesn't want to train it and Tatum's too young, then yeah, she's going to have to do a class or um, find a trainer in her area. Otherwise, she's going to end up giving the dog away because it is going to be too much for her. Oh, so Super Chewer is part of BarkBox. Awesome. I didn't know that. Um, okay, so Julie doesn't find BarkBox worth it because they will destroy the stuffed toys within seconds, and the food that they send makes my dog sick. Oh, see, that is good information for me because I don't want to spend money if it's just going to be wasted. I like to buy toys that last forever. And I do spend a lot of money on my dogs, and I buy them toys all the time. But I do like to buy things that I can rotate so they never get tired of them and that are going to last a long time. Um, okay, Nicole had Super Chewer for a year but did decide to cancel it. Yeah, and that's the thing is you can't always pick like what you want, and that's where I get most of my toys is on Amazon. And I have a whole big basket of toys for my dogs, and I do rotate them. So, um, okay. And Nicole saying Wilma was so easy, Moose was more difficult, and he even still can't hold it as long as Wilma. Um, so one thing I'll say, not just directed at Nicole's dogs, but generally, and I've done this too, is I tend to compare my current dogs to former dogs. Like Jade is like, okay, why can't you be like Maddie? Maddie was so easy to train, and she's so even tempered, and she is like the best dog ever. Like, why can't you be more like her? They're all pit bulls or mixes, um, but each dog is an individual, and each dog has its own genetic makeup and is different. Just like my brother and I are polar opposites. He's tall and thin. He rarely gets mad. Um, I'm more quick to react. I've um, been overweight since I was 3 years old. Actually, I did just lose 40 pounds when I had COVID, so I'm actually feeling better because I lost a bunch of weight. Now I'm just trying to keep it off. But it's the same thing with like kids. We can't compare kids, and yeah, you will have a dog like my foster dog. He's the hardest puppy I've ever had, and I get like he's special needs. He has issues, but trying to keep him entertained, and he can't. He's got a cart, but it's hard to keep him sufficiently exercised. So we have to do more mental stuff. But yeah, all dogs are different, and we have to. Um, One thing that I've always learned in classes is I always say train the dog in front of you. So you have to kind of like this dog is different. This dog maybe can't hold it as long, so I'm going to have to take this dog out more often. Like I know Maddie can hold, she went traveling with me and she once held up for 14 hours. I did not ask her to hold it that long. She just wouldn't go, and she did hold it for 14 hours. So yeah, it can be frustrating, especially when you have a really easy dog and then a really hard dog. Okay, Mandy has a great question. And also, Mandy, if you want to tell me where you're from, I can enter you in the drawing. I'll do a drawing in about 10 minutes. And then if there's more questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'll answer questions until my battery on my computer runs out. Okay, any recommendations on biting? We have a 5-month-old lab boxer mix, and sometimes she will get too excited and start barking and grabbing at my husband and I. Let's see. We try to tell her no bite or stand up so she can't reach, but she tends to bite at us and growl a little. So that is just play biting. And what I would do is I use what's called the 3 bite strike rule. So, and especially at 5 months, she's probably teething and she's trying to engage in play. And instead of saying no bite, I will usually kind of do in a high pitch like ouch and put my hands up and then redirect. So, because the dog doesn't understand what no bite means. And one reason why I don't use the word no is it doesn't give the dog any information. And your dog doesn't know what bite means. So if you say no bite, she's like, well, I don't know what that means. So I will use an interrupter like, hey, or I'll say, ouch, too hard. But then strike 1 is I redirect to a toy. So it's like, hey, it's not okay to chew on me, but this is what you can chew on. Sort of like what I was doing with my foster dog earlier. He was chewing his crate and chewing other stuff he wasn't supposed to. So I kept interrupting, giving him something that he could chew on. If he doesn't want the toy and goes back to biting you, then that's strike 2. And that means you put him in a crate with a toy. So we don't ever want the crate to be a punishment. So you put him in there with a toy and give him a 1-minute timeout. It doesn't need to be more than 1 minute. So it's just a 1-minute timeout and then let him out. Strike 3 is if they still go back to biting you a 3rd time, then they go in the crate with a toy, cover the crate, and they get a nap. So it could be that they're too overly stimulated and they just need some decompression time. So it is hard. I was at a client's house that had a pit bull puppy, and I mean, I'm not kidding. My hands were bleeding, and I was trying to talk to the owners, and this puppy just kept going and going and going. And finally, I said, "Okay, we've got a crate. We have to crate him." So we put him in the crate with a toy and ignored him. He was a little bit like active for a little bit, like barking to get out. And once we just ignored him, he finally just went to sleep, which was good. But yeah, you always want to redirect, and I would use an interrupter, like you can use, if you want to say no bite, but don't expect your dog to understand what no bite means. Also, dogs don't generalize. So if you say like, as an example, let's say that your dog is biting your hand, and you say no bite, then she might stop, but then she's like, okay, well then I'll bite your feet, or I'll bite your ankles, or I'll bite your calf, or something like that. So they don't generalize what no bite means. And then you want to teach them what you want them to do instead. So like, okay, you can't chew on me, but here's a toy, you can chew on this. And then if they continue, it's like, oh, you're going to get a 1-minute timeout. Here's a toy. If you want to chew on your toy in your crate, you can do that. And then 3rd time is they get a nap and you get a break from constantly being chewed on. And she is just trying to elicit play. One of the other things that I really like to use for dogs like this is the flirt pole or the tail teaser. Pupford sells them. You can also get them on Amazon, but it can really wear them out. Um, and it lets the dog chase, grab, shake. But your hands are nowhere near where the toy is. So the puppy can still be a puppy and, grab a toy, play tug, whatever, without your hands being very close. And then I teach a drop it as well. The only time my hands get close is when I offer the treat right in front of the dog's nose and say drop it. And then when the dog lets go of the toy to get the treat, while the dog's chewing the treat, I pick up the toy. Um, and then I ask the dog to sit first, and then I will then play that again. So you can really wear a dog out by using a flirt pole. And again, then your hands are far away. So you can try that out because that's really good. It teaches impulse control. You can teach a drop it. Um, it allows dog to do species specific behaviors like chasing, grabbing, biting, without like chewing on you. Nicole, well, do you want him? He definitely tonight wanted to be part of the discussion. He was a little pill tonight. He had to actually strike 4 or 5, and I finally just put him outside and closed the dog door. Since for the first time today, he figured out how to come back in through the dog door. Um, so yeah, he's usually very calm, and tonight he was just on one. It could be because we've had rainstorm. We had a rainstorm all last night and today, which we desperately needed because we have a huge wildland fire. 2 rather large areas had to be evacuated. I live up in the mountains, so I mean I'm on a road, so I didn't, but several of my friends had to get evacuated. So we finally got much needed rain, but usually, he's outside in a cart and playing all day. And since he was inside all day because it was pouring down rain, he didn't get that um, stimulation that he needed, that exercise, the mental stimulation, being able to sniff and stuff like that. And then you can see what happens. He was a little pill. So that just goes to show you how important and he doesn't get a ton of physical exercise just because he gets tired easy and he can't. But yeah, he definitely was a pill tonight. Okay, Julie, you're very welcome. I'm going to do a drawing. Oh, actually, let's do it right now. It's 7:30. And then if you need to leave, you can. And then if you want to stay and I can answer a few more questions, that's okay as well. Okay. So tonight's winner is Melissa Colgate from Colorado. So congratulations, Melissa. You are going to email hello@pupford.com. I'm putting it in the chat right now. And let them know what kind of training treats you want. And I will email them as well and let them know that you're tonight's winner. If you didn't win tonight, join us next week and you'll have another chance to win. And just let them know what flavor you want and they will get those sent out to you. So, and I'm kind of jumping to the end, but I just see Mandy says she loves her flirt pole, so you already have one, so that's good. I might have to do a flirt pole with Willy Wonka next week, right before I do my live to wear him out. Okay, Stacy is asking, how can I address constant licking? So Jay's a licker. And I was just reading today, I'm getting ready to take an ethology class in September, which is the study of animal behavior. And today, as I was reading one of the required reading books for that, they were talking about why dogs lick. Sometimes, like wolf pups and puppies will sometimes lick their mom's mouth to get them to regurgitate food. So sometimes they, not that we're going to regurgitate for our dogs, but sometimes they might do it because around our mouth there's different smells like salt or sugar, things like that. So they're kind of drawn to that. We can have like sweat and salt on our skin, so they like to lick that off. Um, so I usually use an interrupter, and if Jade's licking a lot, I'll just say, "Hey, and then I will give her something else to chew on, or I'll ask her to do something else, such as hand targeting. So when a dog hand targets, they have to do it with a closed mouth, so it's incompatible with licking. And there's a lot of people that don't like dogs to lick them, but it is sometimes a natural thing for dogs to do. So I'll just say, like, I'll use a positive interrupter because I don't want the dog to think they're in trouble. But I'll just say, hey, enough. And then I'll say touch and have them hand target my hand and then reward them. So a friend of mine who's a trainer, she taught her dog to give kisses without licking. And I'm trying to do that with Jade, although I have not been successful so far. So she will say to her dog, like, give me a kiss, and her dog will lift up its mouth closed, and then she'll kiss her dog on the mouth. But her dog does not lick. And so she kind of did that to teach her dog how to give kisses without licking. And I thought that was genius. So you could start by hand targeting, and then you could target your mouth, or like wherever your dog is trying to lick, just do touch and teach them to touch their nose or their mouth to that area. Click and treat, or yes, treat and reward for just touching without licking. So you could try something like that. And again, like she turned it into a trick and said, like, give me a kiss. And the dog will just put its nose up and she'll give her dog a kiss, and her dog does not lick. So you could try that, um, and hopefully that will work. I'm still working on that with Jade because she's an obsessive licker. So Julie, can you freeze lick mats? Yes. I have 3 in my freezer right now so that I always have them ready. And I actually like to freeze them because it makes it last longer. So the lick mats are like silicone. Hard plastic will crack. When I was at the rescue, we tried hard plastic. We were trying to do molds, like peanut butter molds, and they were messy. They was awful. And so then we switched to silicone, and it was much easier. And the regular lick mats, they might be like rubbery or silicone, but they're pretty easy to clean. And then I just spread it over and put them in the freezer, and then they last longer. So then you get that constant licking, which can also help soothe the dog. So, oh, and you know what? Stacy, you could do a lick mat and let your dog get that licking. If your dog loves to lick, have them do a lick mat. And then by the time they're done with the lick mat, hopefully they won't want to lick anymore. They'll be tired of licking. So you could try that as well. And yes, I do freeze them. Okay. How do you teach them to have their mouth closed on touch? So if they open their mouth, like especially puppies, sometimes puppies will open their mouth, and I'll just say, oh, try again. And I'll start with my hand like really close, so when they go to reach, as soon as I feel their nose touch, I click and treat. If their mouth is open, I say, oh, let's try again. And then I only reward when the mouth is closed. So that's one way that I do it. And then I will, let me see if I can get Jade to come and help. I have a treat bag right here. I'll kind of demonstrate how I do it. Jade. So I will put a treat in my hand like this between my fingers. And so when I put it down, yes, there's no ghost to the treat because they can smell the treat. And so as they go to investigate what's in between my fingers, right when their nose touches it, I mark and treat. And then I'll move it farther and farther away until, like, I actually do kind of a game with touch. Yes. So she's learned to just like bop her nose on my hand. Touch. Yes. And now Maddie's coming and I don't want him to fight over treats, so I'm going to put him away. So that's how I do it. So I get them to just like come to investigate and reward, like they're just going to go like, oh, what is that? And as soon as I feel their nose, before they open their mouth, I click and then I will give them the treat, or I'll just open my fingers and drop the treat on the ground. And then again, I do have some puppies that are trying to bite and I'll say, oh, try again. And then try to make it easier or go closer so that they don't have time to open their mouth yet. Hi, Brian. Yes, you did get in late. I'm going to write you down that you were here today. And at the very first, I am making a master list of everybody so that I don't have to ask you where you're from every week. So I will add that you're from Illinois. It's still nice to know, but yeah, all you ready? Some people I have memorized, but as we get more and more people coming, it's hard for me to remember where everybody's from. Okay. So it looks like that's all of our questions. If hopefully I answered everybody's questions. If I didn't, you can always email me through Pupford, Tracy with an I at pupford.com. You can post in Facebook the Zach George Perfect Pup in 30 days. I do try to get on at least 5 days a week and answer questions there. So you can ask questions there. And we had a lot of people tonight. That's awesome. Thank you for joining me. And everybody have a great week and a great weekend. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Oh, hey, Renee. You just joined us too, and we're just ending. But I'm glad you logged on. Yeah, join us next Wednesday. And I will see you guys all in a week. Have a great night.